Hi, BookTube! Welcome to Jackie's Reading Corner. I am Jackie, or Literary Corner, and I want to do a discussion video. This is something that has been on my mind for a while, something that's kind of like, it's kind of giving me, like, I started thinking about it again last night. It was kind of driving me crazy. It's a decision. I'm having a difficult time making a particular decision about this book series, actually. So I want to remind you first, my stance on reading YA. I personally believe, I've always believed that it doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're in your 20s or in your 60s or whatever. If you enjoy a good, fun YA novel, then nothing is wrong with that. It doesn't say anything about your reading. And if you still enjoy a young adult, a book about where the target audience is teenagers and it's about teenagers, then go for it. And I still am a firm, and I still like to, and I feel like, everybody can kind of related at one time to a teenager. We were all teenagers at one time. And I feel like YA novels are just easier to read because they're fast paced. They're sometimes just really fluffy, fun little reads. And like I said, I think at one point in our lives we all related to teenagers. And sometimes they even have more character development and stuff like that. And there also is this whole thing about that there's not is there really a new adult category in fiction? There are books that I think would be more to the new adult section, like the Magician's Trilogy, for instance. But there's no new adult, so it's considered adult, even though these characters, they're new to adulthood and they're still kind of young and stupid at times. But so I feel like there should be a new adult category, and unfortunately there is not. And that's partly, I think, one of the big reasons why a lot of adults still read, YA books, especially adults who are in their 20s. Because there's no new adult, there's no books about that. There's only a handful of books that are about that time period in your life, when you're just starting college, when you're getting your first job, when you're in your first possibly serious relationship. Although I do believe there are some people who have considered that they've had their first serious relationship in their teen years. You have your first adult car, or that's not just fun. You're learning how to do things to take care of yourself, pay for your bills, have your own house. It's that kind of in between time, the transition from your childhood into your adulthood. There's not a lot of books in that category, or if they are, they're considered adult. And I think that's why a lot of people, like I said, especially the people in their 20s, read young adult books still. And while the much older people, it's just more about the fun of it, I think. Now, so my problem right now, the irony of my advocacy for young adult books and thinking that doesn't matter how old you are, and that, before you judge people that read young adult books still in their 20s or 40s or 50s, etc., before you judge them, maybe pick up a young adult book. And I'm not talking just any young adult book. Make sure it has positive ratings on Goodreads. Actually read the reviews. And don't rely on books like Twilight. And I know a lot of people have issues with Cassandra Clare. The irony of it is that I feel like I'm kind of starting to, I don't know if I might be moving on from the young adult books. I'm 31 years old. And so I almost can't relate to the teenagers anymore. And young adult books still have their problems. The problems that people complain about, even the people that read read in the YA category regularly, will point out the flaws, like constant love triangles run amok. Even in this particular series, it's not even a love triangle. It's more than just, it's like an awkwardly shaped one, because you have race in the middle, and all these got the three main male characters all have feelings for her, and and so, and the other thing about this particular series is that it even has the whole trope of, I feel like it has the trope of I'm not like other girls, and with Reyes as the most significant female character, and the rest of the female characters are like silly or annoying, or like, wow, she's the star of the show, and then there's also the whole like YA books also like have teach girls seem to a lot of YA books follow the Twilight formula of, oh, it's okay if he's a bit of a jerk or controlling or anything. He's hot and mysterious, and he really cares about you, and he's just overprotective. And it's, a lot of people think, and, a lot of YA readers are a little bit older, worry about teenage girls reading something like Twilight and thinking books like Twilight their mentalities are okay. Because let's face it, both Jacob and Edward are very controlling, and both kind of borderline, and Edward is borderline, actually, I really shouldn't say it because I'm no expert, but I feel like he can be kind of a little bit abusive. Not in the obvious, I'm going to hit you kind of way, or I'm going to constantly yell at you. Or I don't know, maybe because I'm not a good judge for abusive relationships because I've never experienced that. I've never really been around that. The closest I've come to it is like seeing it on TV and stuff, so I'm actually not a good judge. But I know that other people have said that they agree that other people have said that Edward is controlling towards Bella, and so yeah, YA has its faults. Oh, and sometimes other tropes like The Chosen One, which aren't as bad, but they can be overused and to the point where they get annoying. And YA books start to come off as predictable and cliche. So and then the writing style is very simple. Like I'm getting, and now I'm getting more into classic literature, older books, and it's like now I want to read, and I think that could partly be the influence why I'm falling out of love with, why I potentially might be falling out of love of the YA category, the YA young adult type books, because I want to challenge myself more, and I feel like maybe young adult books are not challenging me enough. Now, again, I am an advocate for if you want to read YA books at my age or older, then go for it. Nothing is wrong with that. They're fun, and I feel like you cannot judge a YA book until you read quite a few of them and read a wide variety of different types, not just one genre, not just books, and there's all, not just like all the female books, but also read some of the young adult books about male main characters, like Harry Potter, and yes, I mentioned Harry Potter, and truth be told, I think the only reason people now, it's not Harry Potter, the book series itself, it's the creator of the book series that people have a problem with, but, and how she said a less stupid thing on the internet, that it's like, are you kidding me? You're really gonna risk saying that on the internet, considering what's going on in 2020 right now, or even before that. It's not okay. It was never okay, but it's just even worse now. I think people are gonna be people are pointing their fingers at her, and they're not gonna be oblivious and not gonna be accepting of the things that she says. But, and then, like, The Maze Runner is another one, Holes, and although Holes is kind of, well, yeah, I guess it is young adult. Of course, those are also older YA books. But I think you gotta read a lot in a wide variety of YA books before you judge them all, and judge people who read them, and assume that, oh, they're not reading mature enough material, or, they're, just before you make that judgment. Just give YA books a chance. A good enough chance. But, like I said, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of growing out of it, and I have not, yes, I want to read either more adult fantasy, or I haven't, like, I don't, or, maybe I'm just, it's because of my classics kick I'm going through, or I don't know what. But it's very, or maybe I'm just growing out of it because I'm now want to be more challenged in the stories and read something that's a little darker, more edgier. and less safe, because there are some limits and there's safety net with YA books. Now, here's the thing about this particular series. So, okay, first of all, about this series, it took me a while to collect all the books because they were not at the library. They were not at this bookstore. I did get the first one at the Roast Office Bookshop, but it never showed up. The rest of the series never showed up at the Roast Office Bookshop at the time. And so I ended up buying the books, and I kept like putting it off before I bought all the books, because I'm someone that I am not only am I a mood reader, but I'm a mood shopper when it comes to buying books. So all of a sudden, I will be inspired to buy this one particular book. And right now, like I said, I'm been very classics focused, and even now I'm looking into poetry. And although I did pass up buying poetry last time, which that's partly because I definitely had to narrow it down, especially because I was also buying something for someone else too. And I wasn't going to put that one away because I need to get that thing for that person. So, anyway, so, like, I would sometimes, so, like, whatever I felt the desire to buy, I would buy it then and there. And I don't want to go crazy and buy, like, 10, 20 books in one go. I try to limit myself to 4 at the most, 4 or 5. So it took me a while before but I finally bought all 4 books. And also, all 4 books weren't always at Books A Million, I don't think, for the longest time. So, but I finally bought all 4 of them. And I don't even remember when I read the first book or when I finished it. Eventually, I got around to the second book. And the thing is, I like the series when I read it. I have a good time with it. Mostly. But then, first, I noticed the things, like I said, I feel like Raisa has a little bit of that I'm not like other girls trope. And, I don't have, and there's one of her love interests is one of those self-righteous, I'm going to do the right thing, I'm going to resist my desire for you, and that I have feelings for you, and I want to jump your bones because I'm a good soldier, and that kind of, those male characters that are just all about doing the right thing, and, and following the rules constantly, those male characters that will push away a girl because, that will be breaking the rules, it's forbidden, I'm gonna hurt her if I, don't give her up. That whole thing just annoys me so much. I mean, even I was watching, I'm rewatching Boy Meets World on Disney Plus, and the last scene, at the end of season 6 going into the last season, they kind of have that trope with Topanga and Corey where, Topanga, because she finds out her parents are getting divorced, they were her example about true love and how love conquers all, and her and Corey are gonna be the best, and they were her example. But then, like, they fall, she finds out they're getting divorced, and so her world is shattered, so she pushes Corey away, and she's like, I don't want to hurt you, Corey, so it's best we don't get married. And there are so many statistics that say marriages fall apart all the time, and it really annoyed me. It kind of, and that, like I said, I'm the same way with guys do that to women, where guys do it more than women do, I feel like, and at least that's how it's portrayed, and just drives me bananas. So, there are things in the series, and the thing is, I like it, I enjoy reading it, but I'm not excited at the same time. This third book has been sitting here, and I don't remember when I read. I don't know if it was a year ago or only like 6 months ago when I read the second book. Maybe it's only been 6 months, and it just feels like it's been longer. But it's been a while since I've read it, and I have been meaning to read this third book for however long it's been since I read the second book. But I have not felt the desire, not the motivation. And as one of my best friends, Larissa, told me that there's a difference between not wanting to read something at all and not being motivated, and I do agree with that. But again, this book has been sitting there for a long time, and it's like, and I almost want to take it on my shelf because it's taking up space, because I want to continue buying books. I'm going to continue buying books. And, it's hard to narrow it down because there's a lot of books on my shelf that I haven't read that I still want to read. And it's a very frustrating, thing. And I don't want this, but at the same time, so it's like part of me is leaning towards decide, okay, I'm just gonna walk away from the series. But the thing is, there's only 2 books. Here is the thing, though. There's only 2 books left in the series. So another voice in my head is like, well, there's only 2 books. It's not going to kill you to read the 2 books. And I don't hate it. I like the series. I have a good time with it when I do read it. But like I said, I don't love it. And then on top of that, like, I also, there's, like I said, I feel guilty that it took me so long to buy all 4 books. And this would be another series that I'm DNFing, and there's so many series that I haven't finished, and some of them only read the first book, and I don't, and part of me, a small part of me does not want this to be another one, but it's at the same time, I don't feel the desire to read it. It's just basically so frustrating for me, and I don't know what to do. I keep looking at review, and this is when I'm unsure of what to do with about a book. I do look at Goodreads reviews and read them, and see if there's enough negative reviews that make me to feel justified. But again, I am not entirely against this book. I do still like it to an extent. But I'm not passionate about it. And I did also start thinking about the whole Marie Kondo thing and her method of, if it doesn't spark joy, then you should get rid of it. And I don't know if does this really spark joy for me anymore. Of course, Marie Kondo, like I said, I did not watch her documentary. I don't know if she's an avid reader or not, and I know she's a minimalist, so maybe she's someone who does not really understand the bookish community, or at least this part of the bookish community, like us, our little group of people who are obsessed and will, to the point where half of us like just buying the books and collecting them. So, of course, like I said, I don't know her that well. I've heard of her, and there was this big to-do about her in the bookish community because, like, being a minimal, she said that she gave the number of keeping 30 books. Now, and people got all pissy about that, and like, how dare she tell us that? And other people were like, well, no, she's not telling you that you have to keep 30 books. She's just recommending it, and she's just telling you this is what she thinks, but it's not necessarily what she says you have to do, because she doesn't control us. So I'm definitely one of those people who's all about, like, just because she says it doesn't mean she's telling you have to do this. So I don't know what to do. I'm kind of leaning towards, deciding just getting rid of this book. Just getting rid of the trilogy, the quartet, or the saga, or whatever you want to call it, the Seven Realms series. But then again, there's still those little voices in my head that say, it's only 2 books left. You do have this first book in the spin-off series. I know you should give it, you do like it to an extent. It just keeps going around and around. It's just like this cycle that goes around in my head, and I cannot decide. And I decide, I'll make a decision and be like, oh, I'm going to do it. Like, like right now I'm thinking, no, I'm going to do this after I film this video. But then all of a sudden, after about a few minutes of thinking about it, or if I put it aside, then all of a sudden I stare and I'm like, no, I should try it again. I should read it and put it on my, but then if I take it off, if I decide to put it aside, then it will take the pressure off. It's just, I don't want it to be sitting on my shelf taking up space if I never get around to reading it. And and then it's going to be sitting in the corner when, I don't know how long, because now with the Book Castle bookshop, used bookstore, you can bring donated books, but you have to, like, schedule an appointment with them. You have to call them, because they get so many books that they have to, decide, they're going to be sitting there for a while, so they have to make a decision. Can they bring in their books? Can we have more books brought in on this day? But yeah, like right now, as I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm just gonna go ahead and put in the donation pile. But again, there's gonna be that little voice in my head that is gonna say, oh no, there's only 2 books. You can do it. Just keep reading. Just, in fact, pick it up now. Like, read it now. But these books are kind of chunky. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're their chapters are long. It's not as fast reading as some YA books. The chapters are a bit long. I'm looking at it now and I'm like feeling it again, the excitement, and being like, oh, it's so fun. But that's only because I'm looking at it now and thinking about it as I talk to you guys about it. But there's just so many, I'm just constantly going back and forth. And what I'll probably do is after I talk to you is look at Goodreads and read those reviews and see if there's another one that would make me feel justified. Or read some other, or look up reviews that will, make you feel justified or something. But I don't know. Like I said, at the moment, as I'm thinking about it, I'm worrying myself as we speak about it. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking for now. So is there any book, standalone book, or book series that you just feel that you have such mixed, part of you thinks, oh, I should just give up on this book because it's been sitting there for so long, but at the same time you feel guilty about it. And this is the only book at the most recent book, because I have had not much problem with DNFing books. I mean, I still will sometimes have to look on Goodreads for justification, but a lot of times I have finished reading the book. So far it hasn't been a situation like this where I haven't finished the series and now I'm thinking I want to walk away from it. So I don't know what to do. I can easily decide right now to put it away in the donation pile, but then, 5 minutes later, I'm going to think, I almost have to hide my books and not have them in my line of sight for me to eventually move on from it and be okay with getting rid of it. I mean, the good news is this is an older series, so it's not constantly talked about on BookTube, Cassie Clare's books, for instance. Those are constantly talked about, and there's some channels that I watch, like Emma Books, who talks, it's her favorite series. And, Alexia, and Alexis or Alexia, I can't remember her name, and Mackie, I don't remember their channel name. They talk, they're Shadowhunters trash. They will talk about that constantly. So while this series, like I said, is not a super well-known series on BookTube, but there are some people like Reagan and Jade, I can't remember her channel name either, who love it, and I know Jade herself has said she feels like it's an underrated series, and who knows if it might even be brought up on World Hoppers, which is being brought back. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm thinking about it now, but then, I know that potentially maybe later I might change my mind. But it's so, again, I'm just constantly going back and forth in my brain about this. And it's driving me crazy. I mean, I wish I could just make it magically disappear now. Just poof, it's gone. But the world does not work that way. There aren't magic spells that make things disappear by going poof, it's gone, But anyway, so like I said, if there's any book or series that you feel the same way about, feel free to share in the comments below. If you like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up. To subscribe if you have not already, click the bell notification below. If you wanted to be notified when I post new videos. I hope please wear your face mask when you go out, wash your hands. Even if you wear a face shield, at least if you're not comfortable with the mask. But at least if you don't wear the face mask or face shield, then at least make sure you wash your hands, cough in your elbow, and just don't be up in people's space, 6 feet apart. And just be kind to people. We're all going through a tough time. And, especially with things like this election where people are getting, have very strong feelings about this election. Just remember to be kind to each other. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye!